So the first part of the design process is configuring the plugins. And reason being is that they play a big part in how your blog is presented online. Plus, by configuring your plugins, it will allow you to have a much more efficient and secure digital platform for starting a blog. So to start configuring the plugins, let's get back to the WordPress dashboard. Simply hover your mouse over the site title in the upper left-hand side of the screen and click on Dashboard. And the first plugin we're going to configure is the Akismet. And this plugin checks your comments and contact form submissions against their global database of spam to prevent your site from malicious content. And simply put, the Akismet anti-spam plugin blocks spammers from commenting on your blog. So to get started, go to your plugins management menu by clicking on Plugins on the left-hand side of the screen. And since you're configuring the Akismet plugin, you'll want to make sure that it's activated. So to activate the plugin, click on the Activate link underneath the Akismet anti-spam plugin. And then now that it's activated, you'll need an API key in order for the plugin to connect to your blog. So go ahead and click on the Akismet settings link underneath the plugin. And give it a few seconds, and this will take you to the Akismet account settings. There we go. And then to get your API key, click on the Get Your API Key button, and you'll be taken to the Akismet homepage. And your homepage may look different than mine, but either way, it's going to be the same steps. So next, click on the Activate Akismet button. And then the next thing you should see is a pricing table. And if you're not seeing this, then you'll need to sign in to your WordPress.com account, since Akismet is connected through WordPress.com. And if you signed up for and activated your Gravatar earlier in the video, you should already be logged into WordPress.com. But if not, you'll want to log in so you can follow along. Okay, so at the pricing table, don't freak out. You can get the free version if you're using a personal blog. If you're going to be running ads and earning money, then you'll need to get the $5 version. But for this video, we're going to be installing the personal version. So click the Get Personal button. Then at the subscription page, you'll have the option to donate to the creators of the plugin. But for now, I'm just going to slide this all the way to the left so that we get the plugin for free. Then you'll notice that the plugin creators reiterate that your blog is not eligible for the personal license if you run ads, sell products, or publish info about your business. Just keep that in mind whenever you're using this plugin. All right, next, simply enter your first and last name and the URL of your blog. And then click the Continue with Personal Subscription button. Then you'll see a pop-up. Go ahead and click the Activate This Site link. And it's that blue link right there. Then on the account overview page, you'll see a privacy policy notice. This is in regards to the GDPR Euro law, and basically this is stating that if you plan to have visitors from the UK to your blog, you'll need to enable this feature. But if you don't plan on having visitors from the UK, you can go ahead and leave the settings alone and click the Save Changes button. And you're good to go. All right, moving on. Next, we're going to create a child theme. This is by far one of the most important aspects of building a WordPress blog because it can save you a ton of time and headaches due to the updates that are made to the parent theme. Now, if you're new to the concept, a child theme is a theme that inherits the functionality of the parent theme, which is the initial theme that we installed a few moments ago in the video. Now, the reason that a child theme is so important is because it allows you to modify or add to the functionality of a parent theme. It's hands down the best, safest, and easiest way to modify an existing theme because instead of modifying the parent theme files directly, you can create a child theme and override them within. Now here's a quick example of why you should have a child theme. If you don't have a child theme, every change you make could potentially be lost when there's an update to the parent theme. But with a child theme, your changes are safe and you'll still inherit the functionality of the parent theme. Basically, if you're going to be customizing your theme, then you need a child theme. Now, there are a few ways to go about creating a child theme, but for this video, we're going to be using our trusty plugin, the Child Theme Configurator. And this super lightweight plugin makes creating a child theme super simple. Alright, so to get started, hover your mouse over Tools on the left-hand side of your screen and click on Child Themes. And this will bring you to the settings page for the Child Theme Configurator. And one thing I love about this plugin is that they recently made an update that streamlines the process and makes it super easy to go through and understand. And I'll show you what I mean. So the plugin does a really good job of visually walking you through the process. And as you can see, they've numbered circles outlining each step. So step 1, select an action. We're going to create a new child theme since this is our first child theme, so make sure that that's selected. Next, step 2, you'll want to select the parent theme that you're going to be using to create the child theme. So make sure that it says Shapely in the drop-down menu. Next, step number 3, click the Analyze button to start the child theme process. And once the plugin is done analyzing your theme, you should get a notification and a green check mark letting you know that the child theme is ready to be created. Now, I should mention that if you're not seeing the green check marks and you're getting a PHP debug notice in yellow, then please watch my video tutorial that walks you through the process of fixing that. You can access that free video in the show notes below titled Child Theme PHP Debug Fix. Alright, next you'll see that a bunch of other steps have opened up. Below that, you can go ahead and leave the default settings alone for steps 4, 5, and 6. Then if you scroll down to step number 7 and click on the Show Hide Child Theme Attributes, you will have the option of editing some info for that child theme. This is optional, but it can help you differentiate between the themes in your collection. Then right below that is step 8. You'll want to check this box if you want the menu from the parent theme to be copied and used for the child theme. And since this is our first time configuring the child theme, go ahead and check this box. And next, we'll want to create the child theme. So click the Create New Child Theme button. And boom! We now have a child theme. You should see a splash notification letting you know all is well. Then before we activate the child theme, we have one more thing we'll need to do. So click on the Files tab, and then under the Parent Template section, check the box next to footer.php. And then click the Copy Selected to Child Theme button. And this will copy the parent template of the footer PHP file and bring it to the child theme. And we're doing this because we'll be making an adjustment to the footer.php code a little later on in the video. Okay, you should get another notification letting you know that the child theme has been modified successfully. Perfect. Then below that are some additional options where you can change the screenshot that is used. Again, this can help you differentiate between your child theme and parent theme in your theme menu, but it isn't required. The title should suffice. Alright, so let's preview the theme to make sure everything looks normal. So hover your mouse over Appearance on the left-hand side of the screen and click on Themes. Then within the theme menu, hover your mouse over the child theme and click on the Live Preview button. And voila, this is your child theme in action. Now let's give it a once over to make sure everything looks okay. And basically you're just wanting to make sure that everything is in place and nothing looks off. It should look exactly like the parent theme we just installed. And everything looks good, so let's go ahead and activate our theme. So click the Activate and Publish button at the top of the screen. Then once it's published, let's close this out and confirm that our child theme is running. And there it is. Our child theme is active, and we now have a theme that mirrors the parent theme. Nice work. Moving on. Next, we're going to configure the Yoast SEO plugin. Now, this plugin is one of my most highly recommended plugins, and it's helped my blog rank in the search engines. Best of all, it's free. All right, so first things first, we need to configure it. So to get started, go to the Yoast settings page, and you can get there on the left-hand side of the screen in the dashboard. Hover your mouse over the Yoast SEO icon and click on General, and this will bring you to the Yoast settings page. And if this is your first time using the plugin, you should see a few notifications. The first is a problem stating that you're blocking access to robots. This is a normal WordPress default setting, and we'll take care of it at the end of the video, so you can disregard that. The next two notifications have to do with promos and the Google Search Console. Now, we're not going to worry about the promos in this video, so you can go ahead and disregard those, but we'll set up the Google Search Console settings a little later on in the video, so you can skip these for now, and we'll just worry about configuring the plugin. So to get started, at the top of the screen, under the Check SEO Configuration notice, go ahead and click the Open the Configuration Wizard link. And this will bring you the Yoast SEO Configuration Wizard. Now, the following steps will help you configure your SEO settings to match your blog's needs. And Yoast does offer a paid configuration service that'll do this for you, but I'm going to walk you through the process step by step and save you some time and money. But let me show you what I mean. If you click on the button for the Yoast configuration service, you'll see that they charge $169 to do what I'm about to show you to do in this video. Now, that's not to say that their services are not valuable, but I'm just letting you know that this tutorial is saving you some money, and that's always good in my book. All right, so let's go back to the configuration wizard and get started. So go ahead and click on the Configure Yoast SEO button to start the process. All right, so the first step is determining which environment your blog is in. Reason being, the plugin wants to know if your site should be indexed by the search engines. And when they say environment, all they want to know is whether or not your blog is live or under construction. So since we're in the process of building our blog, we'll select option B. But if your site is already live, then go ahead and select option A. But we're selecting B. Either way, I'm going to show you how to activate it once your blog is ready to publish. But like I said, since we're in the beginning phase, we're going to select B and click the Next button. Next is site type, and this is pretty obvious. You'll want to select blog. And then click the Next button. Next, Yoast is trying to determine whether or not you're a company or a person. So if you're a person, select person and type in your name. And if you're a company, select company and type in the name of your company and add your logo. And I'll show you what I mean really quickly. If you're a person, whenever you select it, it'll just ask for your name. And then if you are creating this blog as a company, go ahead and click on company. And then Yoast will want the name of your company as well as an image of your logo that's associated with your company. All right, so I'm just going to select person, type in my name, and then click Next. All right, next are the social profiles. So go ahead and add all of the relevant social profiles so that Yoast can let the search engines know about your social networks and enhance your social metadata. And once you've filled all that out, click the Next button. Next is the search engine visibility section, and unless you have specific requirements, I just recommend leaving this as is, so go ahead and click the Next button. Next is the multiple authors section, and if you're going to have multiple people writing blog posts, select yes, but if it's just you, go ahead and leave it as no and click the Next button. Next is the Google Search Console section, and this is where you can connect your Search Console account with the Yoast SEO plugin. This is a very powerful option, and if you have a Search Console account set up, I highly recommend doing this step, but since we're just setting up the plugin, we can go ahead and skip this one. You can always come back and connect your accounts later on. So go ahead and click the next button. And now we're at the title settings. This is where you can change the website name that Yoast will display to the search engines and the symbol it will use for your title separator. I like it as is, so we're just going to go ahead and click the next button. Next, Yoast wants to know if you want to subscribe to their newsletter. I highly recommend signing up. It's super helpful and it keeps you up to date with everything that's going on in the world of SEO. Let's go ahead and click the next button. Then they have some upgrade options and further trainings. Again, these are all very, very helpful. If you do have time, I recommend checking them out, but we're just going to skip that for now. So go ahead and click the next button. And congratulations, your Yoast SEO plugin has been configured, and now Yoast will take care of all the technical aspects of SEO for your blog. This is going to improve your blog's overall performance in the search engine results, and it'll give you some peace of mind whenever it comes to SEO. All right, so go ahead and click the close button. And moving on. All right, next we're going to configure and set up the WordPress Jetpack plugin. I typically don't use this plugin, but WordPress has made some updates to it that have really increased the overall performance and value of the plugin in my opinion. Plus, the theme that we're using requires Jetpack for a few of its features. And let me show you why we need it for this theme. And if we fast forward real quick, you can see if we scroll down towards the bottom of the home page, you will have a portfolio section. And Jetpack will give you the ability to create these projects and display them on the home page of your blog. Jetpack also gives you the ability to create customer testimonials. However, I won't be creating any testimonials in this video, but I will show you how to activate the setting in Jetpack so that you'll have the option to create testimonials in the future. All right, so back at the WordPress dashboard, to add this feature, click on Plugins to access the plugin management menu. Then you should see a Jetpack setup notification. Go ahead and click the Setup Jetpack button. And again, just like the Gravatar, you'll need a WordPress.com account to access Jetpack. And again, if you followed the video up to this point, you should already have a WordPress.com account. But if not, you'll need to create your free WordPress.com account in order to access this plugin. So you'll see that Jetpack offers some paid plans, and if you're interested in them, I recommend you check them out. But for this video, we're just going to use the free version. So go ahead and click the Start with Free button. Then Jetpack will recommend some features. Again, you can check these out in greater detail if you think that they'll benefit your blog, but for now, we're going to skip this and just worry about a few specific features for this video. So go ahead and click the X to get out of this page. And you should be taken to the Jetpack dashboard. So first thing we're going to do is activate the portfolio and testimonial features. So click on the Settings button at the top of the dashboard. Then make sure you're on the Writing tab. By default, they should put you there, but just in case, make sure you're there. And scroll down to the Custom Content Types section. And simply flip the switches next to Testimonials and Portfolios, and the switches will turn blue, and you'll see a notification letting you know that the settings have been updated. All right, the final setting that we're going to activate is the Site Accelerator. Jetpack's Site Accelerator helps your pages load faster by allowing Jetpack to optimize your images and serve your images in static files like CSS and JavaScript from their global network of servers. I recommend it because it helps to improve your blog's speed and overall performance. So, click the Activate button. And we're good to go. You now have the portfolio and testimonial features available, which we'll be using a little later on in the video, as well as the Jetpack Site Accelerator. Awesome stuff. All right, moving on. Next is the Sassy Social Share plugin. This plugin will give your visitors the ability to share your content directly from your blog posts. Now, before we do anything, let me show you why we're using this plugin and what we're going to change. So if we visit our current blog real quick, and we'll fast forward to the end of the video, you'll notice that the plugin is activated and the default settings are showing the social icons on the home page and the blog posts. As you can see, there are a handful of circle icons as well as floating icons on the left-hand side of the screen, and we'll want to change that. Then if we fast forward even further, you can see how we're going to configure the plugin. Instead of having a long list of circle and square icons, I'm going to remove the floating icons on the left-hand side of the screen and change how the social share icons are displayed above the blog post. So, back at your WordPress dashboard, in order to configure the plugin, click on the Sassy Social Share link on the left-hand side of the screen, and this will bring you to the settings page. Now, it looks like a lot, but it's actually pretty simple to navigate if you know where to go. So the first setting we're going to adjust are the icons on the blog posts. And this is under the Standard Interface tab. So click that tab, and then we'll begin to adjust the settings to mimic what I just showed you. So the first thing we'll want to adjust is the title. It currently says Spread the Love above the icons of each blog post. And I'm just going to remove this altogether, but feel free to keep it or change it if you'd like. Next, we're going to adjust the sharing services and icons. And by default, the plugin starts you off with a ton of circle icons. I like the rectangular version, so I'm going to select the 3 that I want. So I'm going to select Facebook recommend, tweet, and the Pinterest button. There we go. Then to remove the circle icons, just uncheck the boxes that are marked by default. And once you start doing that, you'll begin to see the icons disappear one by one as you uncheck the boxes. Perfect. Then you also have the ability to rearrange the order of the icons by simply dragging and dropping them. It's a pretty cool feature, but you can change the order of how they're going to display above the blog post if you'd like. All right, I like that order. Pretty cool. All right, then if you scroll down to the placement section, be sure to uncheck the Pages box. This ensures that the icons will only display on the blog posts. Finally, uncheck the Enable More icon. This removes the orange icon from the list. I don't particularly like how it looks, so I'm going to remove it. There we go. We're all set. Then click the Save Changes button to push our changes live, and let's check it out so far. So I'm going to go to the sample post that comes preloaded whenever we install WordPress. And as you can see, our circle icons are gone, and we now have a more aesthetically appealing rectangular icons. Looks great, but we still need to get rid of the floating icons on the left-hand side of the screen. So let's go back to the WordPress dashboard. And we'll get back to the Sassy Social Share link. We get back to the settings by clicking on that link. Then to adjust the floating icons, click on the Floating Interface tab. And then simply uncheck the box next to Enable Floating Sharing Interface. And so unchecking that box removes the features from the site altogether. All right. So let's go ahead and save our changes. So scroll down and click the Save Changes button. There we go. And just really quick, let's view our sample post again, just to make sure everything looks okay and that it's behaving correctly. And voila, looks great. We now have a professional looking sharing option for your blog's visitors. Let's also check the home page real quick just to make sure all those circle icons are gone. Perfect. The icons have been removed. Looks a lot better. You know, in the end, having these icons on your blog posts are a great way to extend your blog's reach and grow your audience. And also, if you want to add more icons or keep the floating icons, feel free to explore and test different options within the Sassy Social Share plugin. But for this tutorial, we're keeping it nice and simple. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go. Moving on. The next thing we want to do is configure our blog by adding additional pages and creating a primary menu. And if we fast forward to the end of the video again, you could see what I'm talking about. Having a primary menu with separate pages allows you to diversify your content, and it helps your visitors navigate through your blog. This not only creates a better user experience, but it's good for SEO. So the first thing we want to do is add our new pages to the blog that we want to display in our primary navigation menu. There are a couple ways to do that. The first way is at the top of the screen. If you hover your mouse over the plus new icon and select page from the dropdown, that will let you create a new page. You can also hover your mouse over pages on the left-hand side of the screen and select add new. Or you can click the Add Additional Pages link under the Next Step section of your dashboard. And finally, you can click on the Add New Page button in the Pages section of your Bluehost dashboard. Each one of these options will allow you to add a new page. So we're just going to hover the mouse over the plus new icon at the top of the screen and select Page to add our new page. And this will bring you to the WordPress visual editor. What you're looking at right now is the brand new WordPress editing experience. This was a major change in the WordPress 5.0 update, and it has a drastic effect on how you build and design your pages, blog posts, and portfolio projects. Now, like I mentioned a little while back in the video, if you want to use the classic editing experience, then I recommend you activate the Classic Editor plugin if you've installed it. But for this video, we're going to be using the new editing experience since it's part of the WordPress core code, and it looks like it's going to be the future of WordPress. So let's take a closer look at the new editing experience. And I'll go into greater detail as we start to create our posts and whatnot, but let me give you a quick rundown of this new editor. So one of the major differences in this new editor is that each section is broken down into a specific type of block. There are image blocks, paragraph blocks, column blocks, and much, much more. The blocks are new experiences that really give you a lot of creative control over what your blog looks like. And before we dive in, you'll notice that the layout of the editor is super different from what you may be used to, but it's kind of familiar. We still have a field for our title. Then there's the content section directly below that, and that's where you'll add your various blocks of content. Then on the right, you have the document and block settings and page attributes. And you even still have access to the Yoast SEO plugin. All right, so now that you know your way around the visual editor, let's create our About page. So the first thing we want to do is give our page a title. Since this is our About page, we'll type About in the title section. And then as you can see below, the Yoast SEO plugin is already beginning to take care of our Google snippet automatically by adding the page title to the snippet. Keep in mind, this is the snippet that will show up when people search for your page in the search engines. And whenever you have some more time, I encourage you to edit the snippet and add specific meta descriptions for each page as well. But for this part of the tutorial, we're just going to focus on creating the pages for now. And another note, we're not going to be adding content to the pages just yet. we're simply creating them so that we can add them to our primary menu. And once we have all of our pages, then we'll worry about adding content. All right, so once you've named the page, go ahead and publish the page by clicking the Publish button. Then press the Publish button one more time to make the page live. There we go. Next, we'll just follow the exact same steps to add additional pages. So, just like before, hover your mouse over the plus new link at the top of the screen and click on Page. And next, let's add the contact page. So, type in the title, contact, that's what we'll call this page. And then one new feature of this editor is that it auto-saves your work. So if we give it a few seconds, you'll see that the page is automatically saved as a draft. Pretty handy, just wanted to show that to you real quick. It's just in case something goes wrong while you're creating your work, it's auto-saved. All right, so those are the only two pages we'll need to manually create. The other two, blog and portfolio pages, were automatically created whenever we installed the Shapely theme. So let's go ahead and publish the contact page. And you'll have to push the Publish button again. There we go. You get a little notification that the page is live. All right, then go ahead and go back to the home page because we're going to manually add the remaining pages to the primary navigation menu. So hover your mouse over your blog's title in the upper left-hand side of the screen and click on Visit Site. And as you can see, we still need to add our pages to our primary nav. All right, so the first thing we want to do is access the menu management page. And the developers of this theme made it super convenient to access by clicking on the Add a Menu link at the top of the screen. That'll get you to the menu management page, or you can hover your mouse over your site title and click on Menus. Either one will get you to the next step, but for now, I'm going to click on the Add a Menu link. And this will bring you to the menu management page, and this is where you can add pages to a menu, change the menu structure, change the settings, location, you can name your menus, and much, much more. This is basically home base for building out your different menus. All right, now let's create our new primary menu and add the pages that we just created. So the first thing you want to do is give your menu a title. So where it says menu name, I'm going to call this menu primary menu. Next, you'll want to add the pages to the menu. So where it says pages, simply check the boxes next to the pages that you want to add and click the Add to Menu button. So we already created the contact and about page, and this theme we're using will automatically create the blog and front pages for you. So select those 4 pages and click the Add to Menu button. There we go, and you'll see the pages have been added to the menu structure. Next, we want to add our portfolio page, and the theme automatically creates this page as well, but they don't add it to the actual pages section, so we'll need to add it as a custom link. So go ahead and click on Custom Links, and then where it says Link Text, type in the word portfolio. This will be what appears in your primary nav menu. Then type in the URL of where you want this part of the menu to take you. And we want it to take visitors to our portfolio page. So we'll just type in our primary domain, followed by a / and then the word portfolio. So it's bensbloggingvideo.com / portfolio. Then click the Add to Menu button, and you should see that the custom link has been added to the menu structure. Perfect. Then I like to give my visitors a way back to my home page within the navigation bar. And if we fast forward again, you can see that the primary nav menu has all of the pages we just created, but there's also a home page menu item. This creates a friendly user experience and it helps people navigate your blog. So back at the menu management page, we'll reconfigure the order of the menu items and then rename the front page tab as home. And watch how easy this is. So I want the front page, which we'll name home here in a few seconds, to be the first option on the primary nav. So simply drag and drop the menu items so that they coordinate with how you want them to appear on your blog. And note that the menu items listed at the top of the menu structure will be the farthest to the left on your blog's nav menu. Pretty cool. All right, next, let's rename the front page tab as home. So on the front page tab, click the arrow to open up the additional configuration options. And then where it says navigation label, type in home. Pretty simple. And that's it. Now it will appear as home on your primary nav. Perfect. Then directly below the menu structure, be sure to check the box that says primary. That's within the menu settings. This ensures that your menu's display location is the primary menu of your blog. All right, then click the Save Menu button to push all these changes live. And you should get a notification letting you know that the primary menu has been successfully updated. Perfect. Then let's visit the blog. So hover your mouse over the site title and click on Visit Site in the upper left-hand side of the screen. And that'll take you to the live blog. And you can see that the primary menu is up and running and the pages within the menu are now in the order that we want. Looks great. All right, moving on. Next, let's start designing the homepage of your blog. All right, so now the fun begins. This is where you get to start customizing and designing your blog. And the great thing about this theme is that the homepage serves as an effective way to not only grab people's attention, but you can grow your audience and client list as well. And we'll get into that very soon. But first things first, we need to create a logo. Now, what if we wanted to have a more custom logo, something that stood out and drew attention to our site and created brand recognition? And if we fast forward real quick, you can see the custom logo I made for this blog. So this particular theme gives you the ability to add a unique logo that displays across the upper left-hand side of the primary nav. Again, this is a great way to create brand recognition and look more professional. All right, now before we create our logo, let me show you how to access that part of the page. So in the upper left-hand side of the screen, if you click on the Customize link with the paintbrush icon, it will take you to your customization menu. And this is where you'll be making most of the changes to your blog. Anytime you need to make a tweak or design change, you'll more than likely be doing it through the customization menu. Once opened, you'll see the menu items on the left-hand side of the screen. But then you should also see blue circle pencil icons on the right-hand side throughout various parts of the page. These icons are a new feature to WordPress and are like quick links that will take you to specific parts of the customization menu. This is a really cool feature because it saves you time, especially when you're new. So you're not having to search through the tabs on the left trying to find which tab coordinates with what part of the page you're trying to edit. And let me show you what I mean. So to get to the logo so that we can start making changes, you typically would click on the Themes Option tab, which opens up additional options. Then you'd select the Site Identity tab, and within this tab is where you'd make the logo edits. It's kind of confusing if you don't know where to look. But now you can easily click on the circle icon next to the section of the page you want to edit, and it will automatically take you to the Site Identity section of the customization menu instead of having to click through multiple tabs to get there. It's pretty convenient and it's a time saver. All right, so now it's time to change our logo. As you can see, the theme starts you out with just the title of the blog. It's not bad, but I want to add a more creative logo. Now, you can either pay someone to create a logo for you, or you can do it yourself for free. I like saving money, so let me show you how I made mine. In order to make a professional looking logo, you'll need to have some sort of graphic design software. A lot of people use Photoshop, but I'm using Pixelmator, which is what you're looking at right now. It basically does the same thing, and it's a lot cheaper. Now, I'm not going to walk you through the entire process of downloading Pixelmator, but I wanted to give you an idea of how to get resourceful when it comes to designing a logo for your blog. And if you're interested in Pixelmator, I'll put a link in the show notes where you can check it out. Now, all I did for this was I used an image for the background, and then I added my own unique font on top of it, and then saved it all as one image. Then I'll use this image as a logo within the header. Another way to create a great looking logo is with canva.com. This website can help you create stunning graphics with their free design software. And I use them quite a bit. You can get some high quality design elements from them for free. And I'll put a link to their website in the show notes as well. So let me walk you through the process of using canva.com to create a logo. As you can see, they have a ton of great pre-made templates like social posts, resumes, ebooks, and much more. But they also have a section for custom dimensions, which is what we're going to use for our logo. So click on the custom dimensions link, and this will open up the dimension settings. I'm going to make this logo pretty big because I want to show you how to resize it within WordPress, but feel free to make it any size you want. Then once you've entered your desired dimensions, click the green design button and Canva goes to work and opens up your custom layout. Next, we want to start designing. So for this logo, I used a watercolor PNG file for the background, and then I added some custom font on top of it. Now, a great place for PNG files is Kiss PNG. But please be aware of the licensing agreements and terms for each image you use for your logo. I'm not a lawyer, so this isn't legal advice, but you'll want to make sure that the images that you're using for your logo aren't copyrighted and that they can be used for commercial use and not just personal use. All right, so once you have your image, head on back to canva.com and select Uploads, and then upload that watercolor PNG. There we go. And I'm going to speed this up and kind of fly through it, but you'll get the idea. So I'm going to select the text option, and you'll notice that they have a ton of free fonts available. When you have some more free time, I recommend that you take a closer look and check it out, but I'm just going to select some text and add it over the image. Then Canva gives you the ability to really make it your own. You can adjust the color, size, and location of the text, and I'm just adding Bliss Photography as my text and centering it in the middle of my watercolor image. Perfect. Then you'll just download the image and save it to your computer's hard drive. Alright, so back at the blog, in order to change the logo, simply click the Select Logo button within the Site Identity tab. And this will bring you to your media gallery. This is where you'll upload and store the images that you're going to use for your blog. So to add the image of the new logo, simply click on the Select Files button, and this will give you the ability to search for the logo on your computer. Then once you have the image, there are two things that I always recommend doing. If you look on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the attachment details. The first is giving the image a title. By default, it will show the image's file name, and this is what will show up whenever someone hovers their mouse over the image. So I recommend changing it for a good user experience, plus it's just a best practice. So I'm going to type in Bliss Photography. Then the second thing I recommend doing is adding the alt text. And without getting too technical, all the alt text is it's what search engines will see since they can't actually see the images. So you'll want to be descriptive whenever you're filling out the alt text. There we go. All right, so we're all set with that image. So go ahead and click the Select button at the bottom of the screen. Then you'll have the option to crop it. Go ahead and click the Skip Cropping button since we're going to be using the full image. Okay, so back at the customization menu, you'll notice that the logo width and height can be adjusted. So we're going to leave it as is for now because I want to show you the before and after. So go ahead and publish this new logo. So at the top of the screen, click the Publish button. And then typically after you publish it, the changes should show up on the right hand side of the screen, but for some reason the new logo doesn't show up unless you completely leave the customization menu. I'm not sure if that's a bug, but if you exit the menu, you'll see that, whoa, that's huge. Now don't get me wrong, it looks kind of cool, but I think it's way too big. So let's go back to the customization menu. So click the customize link, and then go ahead and click that circle pencil icon next to the logo to open up the settings. And once again, back at the site identity section, simply change the dimensions of the logo. So I like 150 pixels by 65 pixels. And once again, it isn't displaying after I change it, but whenever I publish this and exit the customization menu, the logo should show up. So let's publish this and then exit out of the menu. And there we go. Our new sized logo is showing as the correct dimensions. Now I'm not sure if this is a bug, but it's a minor issue in my opinion. And again, it looks great. We have a unique and professional looking logo. All right, moving on. So the next thing we want to do is add a favicon, or as WordPress calls it now, a site icon. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what a favicon or site icon is, a favicon is the tiny image that web browsers use to help distinguish between web pages. And if we fast forward to the end of the video and take a look at the top of the screen, you can see what I'm talking about. These images in the tabs are favicons. They're great for branding efforts and they help people navigate online. Additionally, some browsers and mobile devices will display a larger image, like the Safari browser, which is what we're looking at right now. The site icon that we're going to create will also be used as a browser and app icon for your blog. So that's why it's important to have a site icon for your branding efforts. All right, so back at the blog, to change the site icon, go back to the customization menu. So click on the customize icon. And then if you remember, our site icon settings were located in the same section as our logo settings. So you can either click the circle icon next to the logo to get to the site identity section, or click through the theme options and site identity tabs to change the site icon. And we'll just go through the tab way just so you know. So click theme options and site identity. Now, before you choose your icon image, keep in mind that WordPress recommends that you use an image that is at least 512 pixels wide and tall. That's because the image will be used for your favicon and app icon. And you can easily create your own site icon with, you guessed it, canva.com. Just use the same steps as we did to create the logo, but make sure your image is 512 by 512 pixels. Super simple, and it's free. All right, so let's add the image you're going to use for the site icon. Simply click the select image button, and this will bring you to your media library. Then click the upload files link, because we're going to be uploading the image. And then click the select files button. And then once you have the image, there we go. Make sure it's selected. And I'm going to skip the attachment details for now, but don't forget to fill that out. Click the select button. And as you can see, the image I just uploaded is now being used for the favicon and site icon. Looks great, looks a lot more professional. So click the publish button at the top of the screen to make our changes live. And then if we exit out of the customization menu and look at the tab within our browser, you should see the image you just uploaded as a favicon. Now, if you're not seeing it right away, give it a few minutes and clear your browser's cache and history, refresh the page, and it should show up. All right, let's keep this moving on. So the next thing we're going to change is the color scheme of the blog. Now, If you haven't noticed, the default color scheme of this theme is purple. You can tell by the color of the buttons. If you're planning on using purple within your brand and your blog, then you can skip this step. But as you can see, I'm using a darker shade of blue for the color within my logo. So I'll want to change the theme's color scheme so that it matches the same shade of blue as the logo. And to do that, we'll go back to the customization menu. So once again, click the Customize link at the top of the screen. Then click on the Themes Option tab. And then click on the Colors tab. And this will open up the color settings and will let you change the color scheme of your blog. So the first color I'm going to be changing is the button color. So under where it says Button Color, click the Select Color button, and this will open the color selector up. And now since we're using a very specific color of blue, we'll want to swap out the purple hex color code with the hex color code of the shade of blue. And here's how it works. If you go to color-hex.com, you can literally choose from thousands of colors and their hex color codes. And all a hex color code is it's a way of specifying color using hexadecimal values. This code, which starts with a pound sign followed by a few numbers, is generally associated with HTML and is how color is translated in computer code language. All right, so once you've decided on the specific color you're looking for, just copy the hex color code from the website and then paste it within the button color field in the customization menu. There we go. Typically they show up so that I can preview them, but I may be running into a small bug. Not a big deal though. Next, let's change the color of our links. So we'll follow the same process as we did with the button color. You'll click the Select Color button next to the link color and paste the color hex code. And this will change the color of the links within our content. Next is the button hover color. This will change the color of the button whenever the mouse pointer is hovering over it. And I like to have it the same shade of blue but a little lighter. And look at that, our changes are showing up before we publish them. All right. That works. And then finally the link hover color. This will change the color of our links whenever someone is hovering their mouse over the particular link. Everything looks good, so let's publish our changes. So click the Publish button and then we'll exit out of the customization menu and let's take a look at this real quick. And it looks awesome so far. As you can see, the color scheme across the entire blog has been updated to the darker shade of blue, and it matches our logo and the overall color scheme. Our button colors have changed along with the link color. Looks good. We'll check out these other call to action buttons just to test them out. Awesome. All right. Moving on. Next, we're going to configure the main image and call to action on the home page. By default, the theme starts you out with this nice full-width image of the ocean, some WordPress copy, and 2 call to action buttons. Now for this video, I'm going to change the image, update the copy, and then only have 1 call to action. And since this blog is a photography themed blog, I'm going to be using wedding photography imagery throughout the entire video. However, this theme is extremely versatile and can really be used for any niche or industry. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm proceeding as if this is a wedding photography blog. All right, so the first thing we want to do is change out the image. So let's go back to the customization menu. So click on the customize link at the top of the screen. And then in order to access the image, just simply click that circle pencil icon that is on that portion of the page. It's in the upper left-hand side of that full width image. And this will open up the settings. And it's a pretty straightforward setup. There's a title section for the main title. Then below that is where we can change the image. Then there is a content section if we want to add a tagline below our title. And then finally, there are 2 button fields where we can adjust the call to actions, or as we commonly refer to them in the blogging world, CTAs. So I'm going to change the title to say, "Welcome to Bliss Photography." And you should see your changes show up in real time. There we go, pretty cool. Then I'm actually going to remove the tagline content, but you can add something here if you'd like. So below the content section is the image position settings. I'm leaving this alone because I love the full width background. And like I said a little earlier, I'm only going to have one CTA. So for button 1, let's change the text to say "Let's connect." And then I'm going to remove the button 2 text and link. And that should remove that button. There we go. Then back at the button 1 link, I'm going to link to our contact page. So within that field, simply enter the URL of the contact page that we created a little earlier. Perfect. And again, this is a great way to build your client list because the CTA is the first thing people see when they visit your blog, and it will link to your contact page where we'll have a contact form that will connect their information and allow them to get in touch with you. This is a great way to build your email list and client base. All right, now let's change the image. So back at the image section, click the Choose Image button, and this will take you to the media library. And then we'll upload our new image. That will be our full width background. And as you're deciding on which image to use, I highly recommend you use an image that's around 2,880 pixels by 1,923 pixels wide and tall. I know it's a specific dimension, but that's what's going to work best on your homepage. All right, so once you have the image ready to go, don't forget to add your attachment details. So we're going to add the title and alt text. And remember to keep your alt text descriptive. There we go. All right, then click the update button and give it a few seconds. Boom. There we go. Looks amazing. All right, moving on. Next, let's scroll down and update the other 2 CTAs and their images. So if we scroll down the home page, I'm talking about these 2 sections in particular. All right, so first things first, go ahead and click the Done link to close up that particular widget. And then also note that we haven't published these changes yet, so they're not live. We're going to be publishing them in a few minutes, just a heads up. All right, next we're going to edit these 2 sections that have the computer images and the CTAs next to them. These are great because they give you yet another way to build your audience and promote your work. So for this tutorial, I'm creating 2 sections that will link to 2 separate photo gallery pages. I'm going to have one link to a page that will display all of my photography from a wedding ceremony portfolio, and then the other CTA will link to a page that will display photography from a wedding rehearsal portfolio. We'll get into the specifics of creating these image gallery pages, but first, let's edit these 2 sections of the home page. All right, so just like before, in order to edit it, click the circle icon next to the part of the page you want to edit. There we go, and this opens up the editing tab, and it's pretty similar to the one we were just using. We have a title section for the title, an image, a content section where we can add a good amount of descriptive text, and then our call to action. So the first thing I'm going to change is the title, and this is going to be our wedding ceremony portfolio section. So I'm going to title this Weddings, and it should change in real time. There we go. Then I'm going to leave the content section alone, but again, this is where you could write out some descriptive text explaining what the visitor will see when they click the button. Next, we're going to update the button text, and I'm just going to say See Gallery. And we're not going to worry about the link just yet. I'll show you how to create that a little later on in the video, but if you want to link to some other type of page, go ahead and enter that link here. Then let's change the image. So click the Choose Image button. And the image I'm actually going to be using is an image that I created using canva.com. And all I did was create an image that was pretty much the same as the logo. I uploaded a watercolor PNG and then I added a wedding photo on top of it. It's pretty simple to do with canva.com, and it gave me a really professional result. There we go. And again, don't forget to fill out the title and alt text, and then click the update button. Perfect. Love the way that looks. Looks awesome. All right, let's do the exact same thing to that section right below. All right, so the first thing we want to do, let's close this widget up. So click the Done link, and then let's edit that second section. So just like before, we'll click the circle icon to open up the settings. And then for this section, I'm going to change the title to Rehearsals, since this is going to be specifically for our wedding rehearsal photo gallery. And again, I'm leaving the content blurb alone. And then I'm going to change that button text to say See Gallery. All right. And again, the button link, we're not going to worry about that right now. And I'm going to change the image. And again, I'm uploading an image that I created on canva.com. It has the same look and feel as the section above it. It's going to have that watercolor image with another wedding image on top of that. And then again, the attachment details. Don't forget the title and the alt text. There we go. And then click the update button to add the image. And awesome. Looks great. I love it. Love the look. Super easy to do and looks a lot more professional. All right, moving on. Next is the parallax section. And this section is super cool because it's typically a feature that you have to pay for, but you get it for free with the Shapely theme. And if you're unfamiliar with parallax, it's basically a scrolling technique in which background images move more slowly than the images or text in the foreground, creating the illusion of depth. It's pretty cool, and you'll get to see it here in action in a couple seconds. So, to update the parallax section, click the circle icon next to that parallax section of the page, and then we can begin editing it. There we go. And by now you should have a pretty familiar understanding with how this works. So I'm going to change the title. And this call to action is going to be specifically targeting people to sign up for my client list. And then I'm actually going to remove that blurb text. And then the button text is going to be a call to action. Like I said, that's going to entice visitors to book a session. So I'll use book now as the button text. And then I'll link this button to the contact page again. And again, this is the URL of the contact page that we created a few minutes ago. There we go. And finally, let's change the image. So just like before, click the Choose Image button to get to your media gallery. And then once you find the image that you want to use, Don't forget the title and the alt text. And again, I know you might be asking yourself, why do I have to fill this out every single time? Well, doing so optimizes your images for the search engines. All right. And boom. Nice. Got a nice little image there, the parallax effect with our title and the call to action button. Looks great. Love it. And again, this is a free feature. Typically, you got to pay for this on other themes. Awesome. Love it. All right. Moving on. Next is the Instagram section. So this section isn't actually dedicated to your Instagram, but you can configure it to be. You can also configure it to be anything you like, but I feel like Instagram would be a huge part of a photographer's social platform, so why not utilize it on the homepage of your blog? Shapely has this great section that allows you to add a CTA and a large image within that block, and I feel like this was a good fit for Instagram, so let's make this our Instagram section. Okay, so just like all the other sections, click the circle icon to open up the editing tab. There we go. And then for the title, I'm going to have it say, follow me on Instagram. So we'll just swap that out real quick. And then you can add some additional content in the content section if you like. And I'll keep the image position at the bottom. So we'll leave all that as is. But then for the button text, I'll say, my Insta, directing people to the Instagram page. And since we're linking to our Instagram page, go to the Instagram page that you want to link to, and all you're going to do is just copy the URL of your Instagram homepage. And again, you'll have to go to the desktop version, just a heads up. And then back at the blog, just paste that URL to the button 1 link field. There we go. Finally, let's change the image. Now I know this is our Instagram section, but unfortunately we can't add our full Instagram feed. However, we can add an image from our Instagram feed. So I'm just going to upload a static image to use in that section. There we go. And once again, the title and alt text. And then click the update button. And there we go. Perfect. Looks great. Got a nice little Instagram section. All right, moving on. Next is the contact section. And this is just another reason why I love the theme, because they have audience growth in mind throughout the entire theme. And one example of that is in the contact form that they've designed to prominently display on the homepage. And this is huge because it creates less effort for the user to reach out, submit their information, and contact you. Now, this form looks great as is, but I made a few adjustments to it so that it matched my overall vision for this photography blog. And if we fast forward really quick, you can see how we're going to redesign the contact form. So I've removed the phone number, address, and email sections and centered the form in the middle of the page. To me, it just looked less cluttered. Plus, maybe you don't have a physical location or business phone line just yet. So that was the thinking behind why I designed the form the way I did for this video. Now, if you like the form the way it is, feel free to skip this section of the video, but like I said, I want to make some adjustments and redesign it. So let's create the contact form. So just like all of our other sections, to start editing it, click the circle icon next to the form. And again, you'll see that it looks somewhat familiar, the editing options that is. So I'm leaving the title and content alone for the sake of time, but feel free to edit it and make it your own. Next is the background image. This too I'm leaving alone, but you can add a background image here if you'd like. And then right below the image is a section for the actual contact form. Now, by default, the theme is pulling the Contact Form 7 plugin we installed a little earlier in the video. We'll be diving into that plugin a little later on, but for now, I'm just going to be using the default form from the plugin, so let's leave that alone. Next, I'm going to remove the phone number, email address, and physical address. So just delete them from the fields and the content section. And as you do that, you'll see them disappear on the right-hand side of the screen within the form. There we go. All right, now we need to make one small tweak to the CSS. So let's back out of this section of the customization menu. Don't completely leave the menu. Just click the arrow in the upper left-hand side of the screen. And that'll back out to the previous section. There we go, till you get to the beginning, and click the additional CSS tab. And that's going to open up the CSS module within the customization menu. And remember, these changes aren't saved or published, so this won't be live until we publish it. All right, so the CSS module is an area where we can quickly add CSS snippets of code whenever we want to make a change that requires some additional coding. And this is an amazing new feature that WordPress added a few updates ago, and it really comes in handy whenever you're redesigning things like we are with the contact form. So I've made this super simple for you so that all you have to do is copy and paste the ready-made code within the CSS module. Just head over to my CSS code cheat sheet by clicking the link in the show notes titled Code Cheat Sheet and find the code that's labeled Homepage Contact Form Adjustments, and then simply highlight it and copy it, and then back at your blog just place your cursor on line 1 within the CSS module and paste the code from the cheat sheet. And boom, the form is now centered. Now, another cool thing that I love about CSS is the flexibility you have whenever it comes to design. For example, you can easily adjust the width of the form by changing the percentage here within line 4 of the CSS code. So where it says width, just change it from 60% to any other percentage you see fit. It's a pretty cool feature that is now built into your customization menu. So I like it at 60% width, so I'll just leave it as is. There we go. And let's publish this. So once again, click the publish button, and this will publish all of our changes to the front page up to this point. Then let's exit out of the customization menu so that we can take a look at our work so far. And our home page is really coming together. We have our full width image section with the CTA, linking to the contact pages, the galleries, Instagram section, good looking contact form. Perfect. All right, next we're going to configure the portfolio section. And currently we have a main clients slider installed by default, but for this tutorial I'm going to remove it and just have the portfolio section. And let me show you what I mean. So if we fast forward again to the end of the video, you can see that we've removed the slider and we just have the portfolio section. That gives you a great way to promote and display your various photography galleries and projects. And this is one of the main reasons why I chose to shoot this video as a photography blog. Having a portfolio section is a must for anyone who wants to showcase their work online. And again, Shapely gives you the opportunity to do that on the homepage of your blog. All right, so back at the blog, let's create our portfolio section on the homepage. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create our first project. So think of projects as like blog posts for your photography. A project is its own content type, but it has the same build and layout as a blog post. All in all, projects are great ways to separate your portfolios from your blog posts. So to create a project, simply hover your mouse over the plus new link at the top of the screen and click on Project. And this will open up the editor. And as you can see, it's very similar to the page editor. That's one of the great things about WordPress. They streamline most of the content creation process so that you can work quickly and efficiently. Now, I'm not going to break down every part of the editor right now. We're going to cover that in much greater detail during the blog post section of this tutorial, but the layout should be somewhat familiar. So, first things first, let's give this project a title. I'm calling this Encinitas, California, since I'm pretending that this particular photo portfolio was shot in Encinitas, California. So in the title section, that's where I'll type in the title. And then it's time to add a block. Now, like we went over a little earlier in the video, the biggest change and the most recent update of WordPress was to the editor, and one being the use of blocks. And the blocks are a new experience that really give you a ton of creative control over what your content looks like. For example, we're going to be adding the classic block, and this is another amazing feature because it lets you use the classic editing experience within the new block structure. Let me show you what I mean. So to add a block, hover your mouse over where it says start writing or type to choose a block and click on the circle plus icon. And this will open up the block selector, and this is where you can choose which block you'd like to use for this particular section of the project. So like I said, we're going to be using the classic editor block, so you'll notice that the pop-up will start you off with the most used blocks to select from, but if you scroll down, you'll see that you have a ton more options to choose from. And the classic editor is located in the formatting section, so click the formatting tab and then select the classic editor. And then the block will appear. And it might not look like much, but if you place your cursor within the block, your editing options will show up. Then if you click the toolbar icon, even more editing options will appear. This is pretty powerful if you're used to the classic editing experience. All right, so let me break it down for you real quick. This is what the classic editing experience used to look like before the WordPress 5.0 update. And all we're doing is we're taking this part of the editor and using it as the classic editor block within our new editing experience. So, back at the blog, the classic editor is commonly referred to as a WYSIWYG editor, which stands for what you see is what you get. And the thinking behind that acronym is that whenever you type in the content area is what you're going to see on your blog. And for the sake of time and in this tutorial, I'm just going to be adding some dummy text within the editor, but this is where you would start typing your content. Then once you've added some content, let me show you the versatility of this new editor. So let's say you want to add some images below the text. Typically you would have to either manually code them or use a plugin to add a gallery. But with this new block feature, you can simply add a gallery block and add the images with a few clicks of the mouse. So to add a new block, you have a few ways to go about it. One way is with the three-dot icon on the upper right-hand side of the classic editor block. And if you go ahead and click on that icon, that's going to open up even more editing options. Now we want to add another block below our classic editor block. So click on the Insert After link. There we go. And this will insert a new block after our current block. There we go. Then choose which block you're going to use. So click on the circle plus icon to add the new block, and again this will pop up the block selector. Now we're going to be adding a gallery block since we're going to be showcasing our photos. So find and select the gallery block. There we go, and you'll notice that we now have a new gallery block below our current block, and it has the options to either upload images directly from your computer or from your WordPress media gallery. And I'm going to upload new images directly from my computer for this gallery, so click the upload button. All right, find our images, and there is our first image. And as it's loading, let's add our new remaining images. So click the upload image icon, and I'm going to upload 4 additional images at once this time. And as they're loading, you'll see that the gallery block is already going to work, and it's displaying our photos. And typically you would need to either manually code this or use a plugin to get this effect, but this block gives you a 5-image media gallery that is beautifully laid out in a 3-column design. All right, let me show you some more features of this block, and if you click on each photo, you have the option of adding a caption to the photo. Additionally, if you look in the upper right-hand side of the screen under the block settings, you'll notice that there are even more options for configuring the gallery block. Under where it says column, sliding the dot left or right will adjust the number of columns and give you some options as to how it will look within your post. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to leave it at 3. There we go. I like the way that looks. And you can also crop the images and link to the actual media file or another page. I'm going to select media file so that whenever someone clicks on the image within the gallery block, they'll be taken to a much larger version of the photo. And then for the sake of time, I'm just going to add some more dummy text below the gallery. So let's insert another classic editor block below the gallery. So click the 3-dot icon on the gallery block toolbar and then select the insert after link to be able to add another block. Then to add the block, click the circle plus icon. And once again, I'm adding the classic editor and then just adding some dummy text. There we go, looks good. Then below our content, you'll see the Yoast SEO plugin in the snippet preview and editor. And as I mentioned before, the Yoast SEO plugin is by far one of my most used and trusted plugins for SEO. Reason being, the plugin gives you the ability to craft your search engine snippet directly from your content. And again, the snippet is what will be shown in the search engine's search results. And one of the main reasons I love this plugin is because it gives you the ability to strategically construct page titles and meta description tags within the WordPress editor. This also helps you craft an aesthetically pleasing or eye-catching listing in, let's say, Google's organic search results. By using this plugin, you can optimize the content on your titles and snippets to maximize your click-through rate from Google. Long story short, this plugin is good for SEO. Alright, so to edit the snippet, simply click the Edit Snippet button, and this will present you with some additional editing options. First is the SEO title. Now, by default, Yoast starts you off with the title of the page, a dash separator followed by the site title. But if you want to change how the search engines present your page in the search results, you can do that in the SEO title field. Then there's the meta description, which is the preview text that people see whenever they search for your blog post on a search engine. It's also used within the HTML of your post, but we won't get into that right now. So within the meta description box, simply start typing a preview of your post. And you'll want to be sure to use keywords and make it enticing to help improve your click-through rate. Now, you'll probably notice that the orange line moving below your text as you type. And this feature helps you stay within the character limit set forth by Google and other search engines, and it lets you know whenever you should stop adding content to the snippet by turning green. And there we go. Now once we have our snippet, click the Close Snippet Editor button. And then you'll also notice that the Yoast SEO plugin has a section for focus key phrase. This is where you can tell Yoast the keyword or the key phrase that you're trying to rank for, and then the plugin will analyze the content to determine whether or not you're using the focus keyword in a way that benefits your SEO. Plus, after adding the keyword, you'll be given an SEO grade that helps you optimize your content for the search engines. There's also a readability analysis section. This is where the Yoast SEO plugin analyzes your content's readability and grades it with the colored circle icon. Check it out whenever you have some more time, but this is some great insight on how to tailor your content for the search engines. All right, next, let's go back to the document settings. So scroll up and click on the document tab on the right-hand side of the screen. And the first thing we're going to edit is the permalink. Now, in the beginning of the video, we changed the permalink settings to match our page title, but our title has a comma in it in this particular post, so we'll need to change that. Encinitas, California. That's not a good permalink. So to edit your permalink of a specific page, project, or blog post, simply click the Permalinks tab, and that will open up the permalink settings for this particular project. And it also gives you a preview of the permalink, and as you can see, there's a comma within the URL. That's not good. So I'm just going to edit the URL within the URL field and remove the comma, add a dash, and CA. So it's going to be Encinitas-CA. Perfect. Super simple. All right, next thing we want to edit is the project type. And this is basically, think of it as a category for your projects. So click the Project Types tab, and I'm going to create a wedding project type so that I can group all of my wedding photo galleries together. So click the Add New Project Type link, and then type in the name of the project type. So we're going to call this Weddings. And then click the Add New Project Type button to officially create the project type. There we go. It should be automatically selected. Perfect. Finally, we want to add a featured image. And all a featured image is it's the image that visually represents your project on your blog. This image will be what is displayed on your homepage in the portfolio section. So first things first, click the Featured Image tab to open up the settings. Then to add a featured image, click on the Set Featured Image button. And once again, this is the same process as adding an image. Simply upload and select your image within the media gallery. There we go. And again, you'll want to add the title and alt text. Remember, we always want to optimize our images for the search engines. And there we go. Then click the select button. Perfect. Then before we publish this project, let's preview it. And this is another really cool feature of WordPress. So before you put anything online, you have the option of previewing it to see what it would look like in a web browser. So to preview what we just created, simply click the preview button on the upper right-hand side of the screen at the very top there. And this will open up another tab displaying what your project will look like once it's published. And as you can see, we still have some work to do with the layout of the page, like the header and the sidebar, and we'll take care of that a little later on in the video, but what I'm concerned with right now is the overall content. For the most part, it looks pretty good. We have our featured image with the content in the photo gallery, but one thing I don't like is the padding of the gallery. For some reason, there is a lot of white space on the left-hand side of our gallery, and it isn't centered. Now, I'm not sure if this is a bug within the new editor, but I'm going to show you how to fix this within the CSS module. It's super simple and can be fixed super quick. All right, so let's publish this project first before we make any CSS changes. So let's go back to the editor. And to make this live, simply click the Publish button. And then WordPress will make sure you're ready to publish. So go ahead and click the Publish button again. There we go. And you should get a notification that the project has been published. Next, let's fix the padding issue on the photo gallery. So click the View Project button to go to the live post. And then now that we're at the live project, I know I'm going back and forth saying post and project, but these are projects, not blog posts. So now that we're at the live project, we can use some CSS to change how the gallery looks within the content. It currently has a lot of white space on the left, and it just doesn't look centered in my opinion. So let's change that with some CSS. So we'll go to the customization menu, so click Customize. And again, we're going to be adding some CSS, so click the Additional CSS tab. There we go. And then next, you're going to go to my CSS cheat sheet and copy the code under the Reduce Margin of Photo Gallery block section. And there it is. Simply highlight that little snippet of code. Then back at the blog, Simply paste that code that you just copied within the CSS module, and you should see the code do its thing. It's kind of quick, but the CSS has removed the white space and reduced the margin on the left-hand side of the gallery so that the photos are more centered within the content. Looks a lot better in my opinion. I know it's kind of silly, but CSS can really go a long way. All right, so let's make it official and publish this. So click the publish button to push our changes live. There we go, and then let's exit the module and check it out. All right. Scroll down, and beautiful. The photo gallery is centered, and it looks a lot better in my opinion. Plus, you got your hands dirty with some CSS edits. Nice work. All right, moving on. All right, next it's time to add our portfolio section to our blog's homepage. So back at the homepage, we're going to make some adjustments before we add our portfolio projects. So first things first, let's access the customization menu. So click the customize link at the top of the screen. And then the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the Our Main Clients slider. And it's that slider at the bottom of the screen that has the icons. So you can get there by clicking the circle pencil icon or click the Widgets tab and then select the Homepage tab. And then the tab that you want to select is the Shapely Client section for front page. It's the next to the last tab. Then you'll see the various images and links that are being used for the widget. Now don't get me wrong, it's a great feature, but for this video we don't have any clients just yet, so I'm going to remove it from the home page. So simply scroll down to the bottom of the widget and click the red remove link, and it magically disappears. Next, we're going to add a new widget for our portfolios. So click the Add a Widget button, and this will open up the list of all the widgets we can choose from. And we're going to be adding our portfolio, so click on the Shapely Portfolio for Home tab. It should be towards the bottom there. There we go. And then this will add and open the settings for the portfolio widget. And first things first, let's give it a title. So I'm calling this My Work. Then when you scroll down, you'll notice that there's a bunch of black space and it looks kind of weird. Don't mind that. Once you start adding other projects and publish the widget, it will look normal. But for now, let's continue editing the widget. So really the only thing I'm changing for this video is the number of portfolios that will be displayed. I'm going to use 8 since that's a nice even 4 on top and 4 on bottom, and you'll see what I mean in a few minutes. So in the number of projects field, type 8. Then the final thing I'm going to do is move the call to action below the portfolio section, and you can easily do that within the widget module. First, let's close this current widget, and then simply drag and drop the call for action widget and move it below the portfolio widget. And unfortunately, you can't see the changes at the moment, but once we publish this, you'll see what that just did to the home page. As you can see, all the black just looks kind of weird, but again, once we publish it, you'll be able to see the changes. So click the Publish button, and we'll X out of the customization menu real quick. And then back at the live blog, as we scroll down, and it's coming together nicely, I must say. You'll see the portfolio section is now beautifully placed above the call to action on the home page. And when we visit the portfolio, you'll be taken to the project that we just created with the photo gallery. Again, we're still going to adjust the header and the sidebar, but the content looks great so far and is behaving correctly. Awesome. All we need to do now is add some more portfolio projects, and this will look complete. All right, so I'm going to add some more projects, and I'm going to kind of speed through this for the sake of time, but you'll basically follow the exact same steps as before. whenever you add another project. So add another project, hover your mouse over the plus new link and click project. And I'm going to add a title. We'll call this one La Jolla, California. Beautiful La Jolla, California. Love it. If you've never been there, I highly recommend it. Then I want to show you another way to edit the permalink. So after you add the title, if you click on the title field, and after the project auto saves, you'll see the permalink pop up above the actual title. Then if you click the edit button, you can easily edit the permalink within the title block. And remember, since there is a comma within the title, I'm going to change that. There we go. And like I said, you'll follow the same steps as before whenever it comes to creating the content. So I'm going to speed through this really quick for the sake of time, but you get the idea. And instead of the image gallery block, I'm just adding actual images. And you see that quite a bit in photography blog posts. And with this feature, you can add captions on each photo. Looks good. Now the only difference in this project is that I'm connecting it to the rehearsals project type. Remember, the project type that we just created was attached to the weddings project type. So after this, we'll have a weddings project type and a rehearsals project type. These are two separate project types that we can group our portfolios into. They're basically like categories and behave the same way. So just for practice, to add a new project type, make sure you're on the document settings, then click the Add New Project Type link. And then I'm creating a rehearsals project type to group all of my wedding rehearsal photo galleries within. There we go. Then click the Add New Project Type button and make sure it's selected. Perfect. And then once again, we're going to add a featured image. Add the attachment details, click select to add the image. Perfect. Don't forget about your Yoast SEO plugin. All right, let's preview this. So we'll click the preview button before we publish it, and voila. Again, we still got to work on the header and the sidebar, but we'll do that a little later on. What I'm worried about is the content. It looks amazing. We're still showcasing our photos, but in a more individual way instead of using the photo gallery. Looks great. All right, so once again, let's go ahead and publish this. So click the publish button and then click it again to make this project live. Then let's go back to the live blog. So hover your mouse over your site title in the upper left-hand side of the screen and click on Visit Site. And then once at the live blog, if we scroll down, and I must say everything's coming together nicely, looks very professional. I really love the way this theme's homepage looks. But if we keep scrolling down the portfolio section, you can see that we now have two projects displaying within the portfolio widget on the homepage. Looks awesome. Now, one thing I want to reiterate is that what we're creating right now are called projects. They're very similar to blog posts, but they won't show up in your blog feed. They'll only be displayed on the homepage and the portfolio page, which we'll be creating in a few moments. Now, I'm not going to bore you with creating 6 more projects, so I'm just going to fast forward, and here it is. Gone ahead and added a few more projects so that you can see what the widget within the homepage will look like once it's filled with 8 projects. You'll notice that there's a cool effect whenever you hover your mouse over each project. You'll see the title and the project type. Then if we click on one of the projects, you'll be taken to that particular project page. And again, these are similar to blog post layouts, but we still need to configure the header and the sidebar. But overall, I'm really happy with how these turned out. Looks awesome. Now, another thing I want to show you is that if you scroll up towards the featured image, this theme has the project type hyperlinked under that featured image. And then if you click on it, it will actually take you to the project type page that displays all of the projects within that particular project type. And what you're looking at right now is all of the rehearsals project types that have been created up to this point. This is a great feature that not only lets you group content together, but it creates a good user experience for your visitors as well. Another cool thing about the project content type is that as you begin creating them, they'll automatically be pulled and displayed within the portfolio page. And if you click on the portfolio link in the main navigation menu, you'll see that your projects are nicely laid out and ready to be viewed. We didn't even have to do anything to this page. Now, you probably also noticed that the little square loading icon was purple whenever we first opened the page. I know that was quick, but don't worry, we're going to change that a little later on with CSS. All right, moving on. All right, so the next thing we're going to edit is the call to action below the portfolio widget. And this is another great feature of this theme because having a call to action or a CTA at the bottom of the page is a very effective way to capture a visitor's information as they scroll through the homepage. So just like all of the other widgets before, in order to edit it, we'll need to access the customization menu. So click on the customize link at the top of the screen. And then instead of clicking through all the tabs to find what you need, if you scroll down to the actual section that you want to edit and click on the circle pencil icon, that will open up the editing settings. Alright, so all I'm doing for this particular section is I'm changing the callout text, changing the button text, and linking that button to the contact page. And as you begin adding content, you'll notice that the widget disappears on the right-hand side of the screen. Don't worry, it will come back after we publish it. Now, you may not be experiencing this on your end, but for some reason it's happening every now and then in the customization menu. This leads me to believe that it's a bug, but it's not a big deal. Alright, so I've changed the callout text, updated the button to say book now, and then I'm going to link the button to the contact page so that I can build my client list with the contact form. And again, we're going to add that in a few minutes. So let's publish our changes. So click the publish button in order to see them. And again, you may not be experiencing this on your end, but again, it seems to be a small bug that I'm dealing with. Not a big deal though. And let's exit out of the customization menu. And then if we scroll down to that call to action section, perfect, looks great. But I'm going to show you something. Now, if you click on the book now button, you'll notice that it takes you to the correct page, but there's some things missing. We're missing the title of the page and the header. And we're also missing the ability to edit the page. Well, that's because there seems to be another bug that adds additional characters to the URL after we've been working in the customization menu. And that's what's causing the page to look like this. Now don't worry, this won't behave like this on your live site, but for some reason the URLs change in the back end if we've been working within the customization menu whenever we're logged into WordPress. Again, this isn't a big deal, just delete the additional characters from the URL. So everything after contact, delete that, and refresh the page, and voila, everything looks alright. This is just a weird little bug that happens in the back end. Now, I've put in a ticket with WordPress and the theme's developers, so you may not even have to worry about this once this tutorial is live. Alright, moving on. Alright, next it's time to customize the footer. And this theme gives you a few options whenever it comes to how you want the content to be displayed along your footer. And let's fast forward real quick and take a look at the finished product. And as you can see, we're going to design the footer so that it displays a small text section that contains our copyright and a few important pages for legal purposes. And don't worry, I'll go over those pages in greater detail a little later on in the video. Then I'm going to add a section that will display a unique image that links to a landing page with an opt-in form that's built specifically for building your email list. And I'll also be showing you how to create this landing page and opt-in form a little later on in the video as well. Additionally, I'm going to add another unique image within the footer that links to a YouTube channel. This is another great way to direct traffic to your YouTube channel if you had one, and it creates a good user experience. Finally, I'm going to add social buttons that will give visitors a way to join and follow you throughout your various social channels. This is yet another way to build and grow your following online. Now, the footer is a great place to encourage engagement on your blog. That's because once someone scrolls down to the bottom of your homepage, if there isn't anything to attract a click, chances are they'll bounce. So by having a footer that has clickable links and whatnot, it will help keep visitors on your blog and interacting with your content. All right, so let's customize the footer. So to make our changes, we'll do so through the customization menu. So click the customize link. And then open up the widgets tab. And then you'll notice that the theme separates the footer into 4 columns. This gives you some flexibility on how it will look, so let's start building out our columns. The first one we're going to edit is footer widget 1, and this will be the column that is farthest on the left of the footer. It will also be where we add our copyright info and legal pages. So click on the footer widget 1 tab to open up the settings. Then click on the add a widget button. And this will open up the list of various widgets that you can add to your blog. And we're going to be adding some text, so select the text widget from the list. There it is. And it's pretty straightforward. I'm just pasting some text within the content area, but this is where you would begin typing. And as you can see, I've created my copyright text followed by various legal pages. Then you're probably wondering where the footer went. Again, the small bug strikes again in the customizer. Not a big deal, just scroll down and you can see your changes at the bottom of the screen. Again, this doesn't affect the front end of your blog and it goes back to normal after you publish it. All right, so our text looks pretty good. Now, if you're wondering how I got the copyright symbol, I just copied and pasted it from w3schools.com, and I'll put a link in the show notes. This website is a great computer coding tutorial resource, and you can easily find a ton of helpful things here, like a copyright symbol. Then next to my copyright, I've created a privacy policy page, FAQ, terms of service, and an affiliate disclaimer. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail on what should be included in these pages, but I highly recommend that you create them and have them accessible on your blog and your footer. Now, they're not only good for legal reasons, but they're good for SEO. Reason being, Google bots look for various pages on blogs, and they actually require a privacy policy page. I highly recommend that you do some research online and find a privacy policy template to use whenever you create your privacy policy page. Now, we're going to create these pages a little later on in the video, and I'll show you how to link them in the footer. But again, I highly recommend you either talk to a lawyer or find a privacy policy template whenever you're creating this content for that particular page. Now, if you need a little help, I'll put a link in the show notes to Google's privacy policy guidance, and you can see what Google has to say about it here. It's pretty extensive and it's a good resource. All right, moving on to footer widget number 2. So let's close this one up by clicking the done link, and then click on the arrow to back out of this section of the customization menu, and then click on the footer widget 2 tab. Then click the Add a Widget button. And for this section of the footer, we're adding an image. So click on the Image Widget tab. And again, it's really straightforward. Just click the Select an Image button. And this will take you to your media gallery where you'll upload an image to use. And one thing to point out is that you won't need to add a title to the images within your footer, and that's because this widget will actually display the title text above the image. So just make sure that the title field is blank. Then we'll want to add the alt text to optimize it for SEO, and then insert the image into the widget by clicking that button, and boom, there we go. Now, I created this image at canva.com. It's very similar to my logo, but I added the text subscribe to it, and it's going to link to my landing page, which we'll create in a little bit. So for now, just put a hashtag in the link field, and we'll add the landing page link after we create it. And you know what? I'm actually going to publish this real quick just to get a better idea of how the image lines up within the footer. So click the publish button. And then I'm going to X out of this customization menu. And we'll scroll down to the footer real quick. And it looks great. All right, cool. Let's keep going. All right, moving on to the next widget. So click the customize link to open up the customization menu. And then click the widgets tab. And then footer widget 3. And this will be the same exact steps as before because we're adding an image widget. So click the add a widget button. And then click the image widget tab. And again, it's the same exact steps as footer widget 2 since we're adding another image to link to a YouTube channel. And I'll go kind of quick through this one since it's the same as before. And remember, remove the title from the title field and add the alt text. I'm going to go ahead and skip that, but we'll insert the image into the widget. Perfect. Then for the link, I'm just adding the link to a YouTube channel homepage. Again, this is a great feature that can drive traffic to your YouTube page if you have one. I'm also going to have this link open in a new window since it's taking the visitor away from the blog. There we go. All right, let's add our final widget. So let's close this up and click the arrow button to get back to the footer widget section, then click footer widget 4. Then for the final footer widget, I'm adding some social icons that will link to various social networks. So find and click the Simple Social Icons tab. And then within the settings, you'll see that you have a lot of creative control over what is displayed and how the icons look. Now, for the sake of time, I'm leaving the default settings alone for the most part, but here is where you can change the icon size, change the border radius, the width, the color, alignment, and much, much more. Then below, you just enter in the links to the social pages that you want to display within the footer. Again, for the sake of time, I'm just adding hashtags within the fields, but this is where you would add your specific URLs to your social networks. And as you add them, you'll see that they'll start to appear within the footer. There we go. Then the only thing I'm going to adjust right now is the alignment. And I'm going to center the icons. So under the alignment section, select Align Center. There we go. Looks amazing. All right, so let's publish the footer. So click the Publish button at the top of the screen. And then let's exit out of the customization menu real quick. And then back at the home page, if we scroll down, our home page is nearly complete. It's looking great so far. And there is our footer. It looks great. Love the way that looks. But what if you want to remove those credits? By default, the theme developers have linked to their homepage and WordPress's homepage in your footer. Nothing crazy, but if you don't want it there, here's how you can remove it. So in order to achieve this, you'll need to make a small adjustment to the code within the footer.php file. And if you go to my code cheat sheet, I'll show you the line of code that needs to be removed. I'm also going to show you how to remove it right now. So back at the blog, to edit this portion of code, you'll need to do so through the WordPress file editor. And this is another cool feature of WordPress because it gives you the ability to edit the theme's files directly from the back end of your WordPress dashboard. So first we need to go to the dashboard. So hover your mouse over the site title in the upper left-hand side of the screen and click on Dashboard. And once you're in the dashboard, hover your mouse over Appearance and click on Editor. And this will take you to all of the template files for your theme. So before you make any changes, make sure that you have the Shapely Child theme we created earlier in the video selected within the dropdown. Then you'll notice that on the left-hand side of the screen is where the file content is displayed. And then on the right-hand side are all of the files. Now, if you remember, for our child theme, we brought over just a few files from the parent theme because we would be making changes to those particular files. All of the other files I left with the parent theme because we won't be touching them, and any change that is made will be handled by the theme's developers whenever they deploy updates. Alright, so in order to make our changes to the footer and remove the credits, we'll want to access the footer.php file. So click on the link that says Theme Footer, and this will open up the file's contents. There we go. Now if you're new to PHP code, it probably looks like a lot, but the change we're making is super simple. And one thing I should point out is that anytime you make a change to your theme's files, you should always back up your site. I'm not going to for this video, but you can easily back up your site within your Bluehost or Jetpack dashboards. Those are paid services, but I think they're totally worth it. Okay, so to remove the footer credits, simply remove the snippet of code that was outlined in the code cheat sheet. And I'll zoom in so you can see it a little better, but all you're going to do is highlight that snippet of code and delete it. There we go. And once you've deleted it, click the Update File button at the bottom of the screen. And you should get a notification letting you know that the file has been edited successfully. Nice work. Then if we visit the live site, and scroll down to the footer of the home page, you'll see that the footer credits have now been removed. Awesome, nice work. That's some somewhat advanced code work. You should be proud of yourself. All right, so the final thing I'm going to do to the footer is that I want to remove a little bit of the bottom padding. This is just a personal preference, but I feel like there's a little too much black space below and above our footer credits, and it makes it not look well proportioned or even. So to achieve this edit, you'll need to make a small adjustment within the CSS module. Again, this is a personal preference. So head on over to my CSS code cheat sheet and copy the code under the Adjust padding at the bottom of the footer section. Then back at the blog, open up the customization menu. So click Customize, and then access the additional CSS module. So click the CSS tab. And then paste the code that you just copied from the CSS cheat sheet. And there we go. The padding has been reduced. And in my personal opinion, I think it looks a little easier on the eyes. Now it's currently set to 20 pixels for the padding, but you can adjust the padding as you see fit by editing the amount of pixels within the CSS. But again, I like how that looks now. So we'll go ahead and publish the changes to make this live. All right, moving on. Next, we're going to add an image within the header of each page. So the header is a global element, meaning that we'll just need to add the image once, and then it will show up on every header within your blog. And if we fast forward, you can see what it will look like. So each page of the blog has a section where the title of the page is displayed. This is called a header. However, this theme gives you the ability to add an image across the screen, which ends up giving the site a unique and professional look. For this particular theme, I've decided to use some wedding imagery for the header, but again, this is a great way to set your blog apart and add some unique design aspects to your pages. So back at the blog, in order to make the changes, you'll need to access the customization menu. Now I'm actually going to go to the contact page so that I can see my changes in real time. And then once I'm at the contact page, I'll access the customization menu. So click the customize link at the top of the screen. Then click the circle icon on the header to open up the element settings. There we go. Then where it says current header, click the add new image button to add the image. But before you do, the theme recommends using an image that is 1900 by 225 pixels for your header image. So be sure your image's dimensions are correct before uploading it to the header. And again, this will take you to your media library, and it's just like all the other times we uploaded an image. There we go. Again, update the title and alt text, and then click the select and crop button, and we're going to skip the cropping. Just going to leave it as is. There we go, looks great. All right, so let's publish this. So click the publish button. And then exit out of the customization menu. And there we go. Looks amazing. And if we go to the other pages of our blog, you'll see that the image follows you across the site and is used throughout the blog for the main header. It's a pretty cool feature. All right, moving on. Next, we're going to make a quick CSS change to update the color of the square loading icon that shows up every time you click on the portfolio page. And as you can see, whenever we visit that page, there's a loading icon that is displayed before the actual portfolios load. And by default, it's purple. But we can change that with some CSS. So once again, let's head over to the code cheat sheet. And then copy the code under the change color of page load icon section. And one thing I want to point out is that depending on what color you're using for your theme, you'll need to change the hex color code that is highlighted in red. Just a reminder that all of the red code within the code cheat sheet are the parts of the code that you can edit to make your own. So things like